Last fall, Ryan and I spent a weekend with a wonderful group of guys down in Kentucky. We had a lot of very interesting conversations. We did have one conversation with Simeon England about long hunters and market hunters. Here it is. So I've got Simeon England here. Thank you, Simeon, for coming in. And I've got a question that I know folks would really be interested in, and that is, tell me about what's really going on with long hunters. What is the time period and who are these guys?
The long hunters the period started in the 1760s and would go quite a bit up to the 80s, 1780s really. And these guys are guys that are, a lot of them wouldn't necessarily like to farm. You know, if they're on the edge of the frontier and maybe their family farm, but they didn't really like it. They would be, you know, maybe like to roam the woods and also a little bit of adventurous spirit to be out because they know that this is Indian land and it's dangerous out here. But they would come out sometimes in the fall and winter here and then hunt. They didn't really like to take the winter hides. They liked to take more of the summer hides, the Virginia red deer. And they would be gone for longer periods of time than just a normal hunt. And
right, so it isn't necessarily a particular, we're going to do this in the wintertime because the hides were better in the summertime. That's
correct. Yeah, right. and they're trapping and they're hunting bear and things like that in the meantime. So they're not just hunting the Virginia red deer for the skins. They're doing other things while they're out here.
So if the 1760s, 1780s is their time period, what's our geographic spot that we're really kind of concentrating on?
Yeah, I think they're coming out of Virginia through the Gap. They're hunting Kentucky, Tennessee, and they can be even in Illinois. They're trading hides in Kaskaskia, which is right on the Mississippi River. So, those three states in a general region there.
So are they consistently having an antagonistic relationship with the Native Americans, or is it mixed? Or
it is mixed. Some of them didn't have any trouble at all. Would come and hunt and no trouble, and then make it all the way back home with their hides. And Boone got robbed, I know 3 times at least. So sometimes there was trouble, and sometimes there wasn't.
All right. So it maybe had to do with different regions or how different people interacted with them,
and different size groups. I mean, sometimes the groups can be as small as 8 or 10, and sometimes there's groups we think that maybe 35 or 40 long hunters.
That's a big group.
That's a big group.
Right. So they're going to be sort of more protected. People might not mess with 30 or 40 guys, where they would with just a small group.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So was this a profitable thing, you think?
I think it was very profitable. Yeah, it was enough profit for a potential farmer to leave all of that farm work, come here for maybe even
cash
half
crop,
a year, and go back and have more money than what he was going to make at the farm.
So maybe he does this. It's like, I'm going to risk my life doing this for a couple years so I have money to buy a better farm or move to a different place.
Well, and sometimes you would come. I mean, there's ledgers that guys would come and didn't have a gun, so they would sign for a gun, work the gun off, and then continue to work and make more money, and then quit whenever they were done, and hopefully take the gun, depending on how much alcohol they bought in the meantime, or sell the gun back before they left.
Sure. And there is a certain portion of this kind of thing helping to settle this area also. These guys, maybe making land claims, doing 2 things at once, or?
I think it is, yeah. I think the Boone was certainly surveying the land in his mind as he was hunting and trying to figure out where he wanted to go and where he wanted to land. There are people that come and settle in these areas because they were here.
Because they knew the land already.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So
I know a really good spot.
Yes, and a lot of them came back to spots that they saw while they were hunting. They wanted to come back. And we need to get back to that spot so we can explore that more.
Right. Or maybe I've got experience as a long hunter. Now all these people are going to want to settle in this area, and I'm the guide to get them into that spot.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Boone, he laid claim to bunches of land that he ended up losing, but he had claim to a lot of land in Kentucky.
So we might have a misrepresentation of maybe kind of what it would have been like there. What do you think that situation would have felt like, their camp situation? What do you think?
Well, I think our modern times, I mean, I think that generally by and large, is the absence of horses and animals.
right.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of times the resources to be able to recreate that.
Yeah.
But if you figure we have to bring everything in and we have to bring hides out.
Right.
And so if you figure at least three horses a person, at least.
Right,
minimum.
and they were talking what? Some of those were much more, like eight horses per person.
Yes,
yeah.
At least 3, and sometimes as much as that. I mean, that is the introduction that into our mindset that we are missing a lot of animals and dogs too. There's going to be a lot of hunting dogs. There's inside of a camp. There's going to be a lot of smell. There's going to be a lot of working of hides. There's going to be a lot of meat. I mean, that's what's feeding the dogs. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of carcass, slash just working the meat. There's the clothes. There's a lot of grease. There's a lot of filth involved.
So it's
with
rough. These are rough. They're probably wearing out their clothing. They're all greasy and grimy and stinky. And wow.
Yeah, the smell alone would probably, maybe keep an enemy away or two.
Yeah,
It might. I'm surprised there's not a camp called Skunk Camp or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So, this weekend has been really interesting because it's helped me envision that better. I mean, it's not perfect. We can't get there in a perfect way, but every time we set ourselves in this situation and we can get some horses in here and some dogs and all that goes on, a little bit of hunting, a little bit of this.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting.
Well, and if you figure this would be a little section off of a station
satellite camp.
Yeah, if we were a group of 40 and there were 8 or 10 hunters in one area, this would be a good representation of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when I think about this, some of the readings that I've done lately, something like Cresswell's journal is really interesting because he travels down the Ohio, up the Kentucky, and they get into this back sort of camp station. I think it's Harrodsburg, and he's running into this. It's a very rough spot. It seems like it's probably a station or a hunting large camp. They're not necessarily there for settling. They're doing something. Does that connect?
They're working, doing a job, and their aspect is we are here now. We're living here, but we are going back. With our money, and so we're doing a job that, almost like in modern times, that when we get done, we're going to clock off, and we're going to go back home, and that's kind of their mindset. So they want to be, comfortable here, but able to work a lot and able to kill a lot, and they're moving around a lot to where
they were working game out, and it wasn't there anymore.
They're following the deer and moving their smaller camps and then packing the hides, and it's always in their mind how many can we pack into a pack and load onto a horse and take off. And
they've only got so much transport. Simeon, tell me a little bit about what you do, at least connected with what we're doing here.
Yeah, I've always loved history in the aspect of this time period, and once I found it about the age of 13 or 14, it was, it's almost like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I didn't start doing it well until I met what I call my hobby mentor, and his name's Kurt Schmidt, and he had researched a lot of this, and he took me from doing it pretty bad to doing it pretty good. And allowed me to skip all of those steps. So I think it's really important to have a mentor if you're interested to get into this kind of a thing, to get especially the mindset. If you can get the mindset connected in your mind to what they were dealing with on a personal level, I think it's easier to do without the modern things and to put all of that stuff away, not worry about the connection that we have every day and every second of the day, and want to come out and do this.
Kind of disconnect and connect here.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I want to feel what they were feeling here.
Right. And maybe we can't know that we've gotten there perfectly, but we can certainly try. And
that's right. We can read and study and do the best that we can of, okay, this person went through this and he made it. He lived. So what did he learn from that attack, that ambush, that problem, getting his powder wet there? What happened? What was his
difficulties? He comes along the way.
Yes.
Right. How he's changed at the end. And
yes. Yeah.
And you build guns?
I build guns.
Knives?
Axes. Yeah.
Where can people see the kind of stuff you make?
Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Simeon England.
We'll put a link down in the description section so you can check out Simeon's Facebook page. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.